Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another day of Overwatch Apex Season 3. Getting ready to dive back into Group B and A, respectively. I'm Achilles. Joining me on the desk today is Papa Smithy. We'll be bringing you the action. Today's a very special day, Papa Smithy, because we have the return. Our first Western team of this tournament in Season 3, making their re-debuts in Season 1. It's Rogue back to play.
That'll be our second match. The global fans have been salivating, waiting to see if the heroes of online play outside Korea can get it done on LAN. That's going to be the big question when we come back and join you guys after the break. But we're starting off with another match with its own implications. A new KongDoo Uncia, no longer seeming to be the triple tank team. They've had a lot of adjustments to their roster. Saw their sister team, Panthera, with Birdring, of course, last week, so he no longer on the roster today. 3 debutants is a pretty big risk. That's 50% of your lineup going to be debuting today for KongDoo Uncia, whereas on the other side, X6 Gaming. So hyped coming into the promotions that we covered just a couple of weeks ago. They got through it the first time of asking, but it wasn't necessarily the level of play that inspired the same sort of confidence, or at least aped what we saw when we saw them play online. And it feels like for both these teams, we don't really know where they're at. It doesn't feel like we can have adequate expectations. Clearly both of them shooting to get out of the group, but we really lack information given how much has changed and given that X6 looked so shaky in that promotion tournament.
Yeah, also just lacking information as far as these new members coming onto the roster. Damon, Poise, and Decay all joining in as of late. Curiously enough, though, Butcher will not be starting today for KongDoo Uncia, so another veteran that they could have had added to this roster that we will not be seeing. So lots of flexibility on this roster so far, but we have to see how it's going to mesh.
I mean, the 3 players, all of them DPS, all of them talk about McCree as one of their most played, so very much expecting it maybe
it's
to
like
be
a solo queue fest.
Well, it might also be triple tank to triple DPS is the change in identity, which is about as far as you can go when it comes to varying up your style. Damon, the only player who's played professionally, he actually played for the Rocks Orcas in Challenger, who were very up and down, hot and cold in Challenger. Didn't actually make it to the promotion tournament, even though they had some hype in their own right. So he's got something about him, a bit of swagger around Damon, so he's going to be a fun one to watch. But you're right, it's so much change, especially going from a single DPS in most cases to 3 new DPS. That's a lot of stage fright potentially. So seeing how they even perform on LAN is going to be interesting.
Yeah, especially when you consider their play style from the last 2 seasons combined. Because the most play that they would go is actually going to be the triple tank, 2 supports, and 1 DPS. So now having all of this extra DPS, you have to expect that the makeup of this team is going to be so very different in their play style. It's 82% of their games with that triple tank.
Well, you know what hasn't changed, though? The makeup of this tournament. It is the same as Season 2, so we will be having that second group stage that we did not have in Season 1, which is a bit confusing when you're going over past results, but when it comes to that graph, pretty simple there. We saw a lot of these teams play already. It's our 3rd match day, first match day of Week 2. If you're following that, started on a Friday last week.
We have 2 of our new teams playing here today with Mighty AOD in the second set going up against Rogue, starting things off here. Of course, though, with X6 going up against KongDoo Uncia. You mentioned the sister team. They had their debut day 1 versus Lunatic
What a match, though, baby.
And one hell of a game. If you guys happen to miss that match just a week ago, that was one for the books. KongDoo Panthera up 2-0 over top of Lunatic High, and then the reverse sweep coming through from the reigning champions. It was a sight to behold, but still a very good showing for KongDoo Panthera with that new addition of Birdring joining the roster. But now comes down to Uncia, which has historically been the better of the sister teams. Can they still maintain that with these 3 new players?
I mean, your first instinct has to be no, because if you look at the changes on paper, they stacked Panthera when you put Birdring and Rascal, these 2 great DPS.
Oh, Rascal had one hell of a show.
He did, but then, of course, struggled a little bit, being a bit too overconfident at the end of that first game. We'll hold on to that point for now. We will confirm, of course, the way it's changed here in Apex Season 3 is that loser can either pick map or side, and all maps are available. We no longer have a fixed map pool. We also have introduced the tactical pause to the group stages that was available in the elimination matches towards the end of Apex Season 2, and you have a choice. You cannot do both a tactical pause and a substitution. You can do a tactical pause, which is 3 minutes in length, or player substitution, which of course takes longer because you have to change settings and change all that good stuff to get the new player situated.
Yeah. So make your decision what you want to do. A couple of these rosters here today do have 7 players, so we very well could see some shuffling
Butcher,
around.
for example.
Yeah, Butcher perhaps coming back out. I mean, we saw Runaway not starting with Kaiser on the team, and then swapped him in. Wasn't enough to get them a victory.
I prefer to live in a world where Runaway hasn't played yet, Achilles, because I don't know if the team that we saw play under the Runaway banner had a lot of the same members but didn't have the same swagger or the same smiles that we saw from them in Season 2. So I'll live in Fantasyland for now. They're not in, of course, the matches today, but regardless.
Yeah, it was much more distraught. It was kind of like seeing a puppy be sad, was how it was seeing Runaway play that day.
The glass was half empty. That's all I know about Runaway that day. But today's matches, the glass once again filled up above half. KongDoo, Uncia, and X6 Gaming is a nice entree, but the main course is seeing Rogue on LAN. That is going to be so interesting. This team that, of course, played way back in Season 1. And you almost forget how they did in Season 1 because you remember, okay, I remember they played it against Envious. You know, they chose Envious famously because they were having their issues with their roster. And then, you know, had egg on their face after losing. But they lost 3-2, and until that point had been undefeated in groups, went 9-0.
Yeah.
There could actually be a world where they go 9-0 in the group of death. It's, of course, a big gambit. But if you listen to the teams around, whenever we speak to coaches, to people who've been tracking Rogue in Korea, everyone has the same story. Everyone says dominating scrims. So, again, right now, what does that mean when it comes to stage performance? Could be a lot, could be little. We don't have information. But the hype levels for Rogue around Korea, and of course with you global fans, are super high.
Yeah, and it seems like the final piece of that puzzle was actually just getting that full French roster together with the addition of Nico. They finally had this. The last LAN that they played at was IM Gyeonggi, were seeded into the semifinals, lost their two luxury watch. Yes, this was back in December, about mid-month there. So it's been a while since these guys have played on LAN. So those jitters could come out, especially for these new additions to the roster. They played that tournament with Skipjack on the team, but now have Nico. They have this full French roster and just have been crushing it online. 5 first-place finishes in online competitions leading up to this tournament now.
But now they have the expectations. Now they're expected to dominate when we see them in our second match. And sure, fans will have excuses. There are definitely legitimate things. They have come all the way to Korea, a long way away from their comfort. Of course, a European squad, but set up in North America. It's a long way from home. And there are a lot of variables. It is their first time on LAN with this roster. But the expectations are there for a reason. So, honestly, against Mighty AOD, when we see that match, heavily expected to win comfortably. Anything else, and you're going to have to really start explaining things because even if you look at the meta from our first match of Lunatic High versus KongDoo Panthera, the Korean teams are playing the triple DPS that Rogue themselves made famous. People have looked over in the couple of weeks between Apex Season 2 and Season 3, seen what was happening through teams like Rogue and Selfless, and have basically looked to that for inspiration. Teams are going to continue doing that, but Rogue really need to make it work today.
Yeah, and it's interesting still to see that transition because, you know, we go back to the promotion tournament, taking a look at those games. The triple DPS was pretty much nowhere to be seen. We saw it maybe twice throughout the duration of that entire tournament.
A couple of attacks on Numbani from memory.
Yeah, it was just every now and then we would see it come out, but it was very scarcely used. And then you dive right back into Apex with the big teams coming out, and they just say, you know what, this is the way to play it. So that will very much fit into Rogue's play style. So we have to expect good performances from them because really this is their tournament to disappoint in.
And if you guys are wondering, if you haven't watched the first 2 match days, it was kind of up and down with the triple DPS. Not like everyone was instantly the god of triple DPS. We saw even Lunatic High struggle with it when they played on Ilios in their first control map. So it's not like everyone has solved it. And Rogue has come the closest of any team to solve it. And then when you look at interviews, I believe Lunatic High's coach was speaking on stream recently, no one really knows what to run against. Obviously, there are ideas. Teams are trying out different things, but it's not solved in terms of what beats triple DPS, apart from, say, a really well-played Roadhog, for example, that isn't just feeding DPS, isn't just feeding ult charge to DPSs. People are still mixing it up. I hope we're going to see some more of this Zenyatta, Mercy, and your favorite, of course, Widowmaker as a potential counter there as well.
I mean, just on Tuesday, we had 2 great Widowmakers coming out with Saya Player and Pine finally making his debut in Apex.
Scrumptious.
I mean, a lot of you might not know Pine because he was on LW Red for the longest time, but he was the original Korean sniper when it comes to Overwatch. The Busan Invitational event that happened right when the game came out, he made his debut there and just kind of took the entire country in just an awe-inspiring gaze. They're just like, wow, look at this guy. He's just doing things that we didn't think possible.
And we just have to wait and see because KongDoo Uncia, at least based on the tendencies of the new players, look like they're probably going to be running at least a bit of triple DPS, as you say, moving away from 82% triple tank. X6, when we saw them in the promotion, playing 2-2-2. You're going to have to learn a little bit more about both these teams. Start finding out.
이전 시즌에도 그렇고 시즌 1 때부터 3색 메타의 선두주자라고 생각했었는데 이번에 새로운 멤버가 영입되면서 조합 자체를 애초에 다른 걸로 연습을 했기 때문에 그냥 운시아는 지금 새로운 팀이라고 생각하시면 될 것 같습니다. 저는 이제 아나 서브힐러 포지션으로 가게 되고요. 같이 딜러를 했던 버드링 선수가 판테라로 가게 되고 딜러 쪽에 있는 DK 선수, 대민 선수, 포이즈 선수까지 총 7맨 체제로 운영할 수 있게 7명으로 진행이 되는 것 같아요. DK 선수는 공격적일 때는 공격적이었고 생존 능력도 뛰어났었고 가능성이 제일 컸던 것 같아요. 후아열 선수나 학살 선수만큼 그런 면모가 보이는 것 같아요. 운시아의 급식 겐지 기대해주세요. 도전적인 부분이 없지 않아 있지만 그렇기 때문에 좀 더 화려한 색깔이 나올 수 있는 기회지 않나. 제가 좀 팀 전체를 어느 정도 조종할 수 있는 위치에서 판을 그려본다면 어떤 색깔이 또 나올지 색깔은 지금부터 만들 것 같아요. 새로운 멤버들 운시아에 적응하기 바쁜 거 알지만 처음 들어와서 처음 해보는 경험이 우승이었으면 좋겠어요. 운시아 화이팅!
Well, there you have it from the mouth of Dance. Coming out saying he's got a lot of, confidence, I would say, in his new flex DPS and Decay. Comparing him to Who Are You? That's a pretty big ask, you'd have to say.
Another 16-year-old player in Western Age. It's another 2001 birth. Another baby of the esports scene is Decay. So yes, does have a very high ceiling if you're to believe Dance. And a comparison to Who Are You is certainly a complimentary one. Both KongDoo rosters on a voyage. Panthera seems to have their sights set super high and almost got it done over Lunatic High, and KongDoo Uncia with very much similar uniforms, blue to the white of the Sailor uniforms that KongDoo Panthera are wearing. Still have Panker, who will be starting today. A great Reinhardt player, maybe the best in Korea at times during Season 2. But Reinhardt is kind of falling to the edge of the meta. It feels like Winston has largely taken his place, and his Winston numbers were just a lot less game time than his Reinhardt. We already saw Kaiser, certainly wasn't quite the Kaiser from Season 2. We only saw him admittedly in a single game a week ago. But there's a lot of question marks about KongDoo Uncia. They've changed a lot of things under the hood and will no longer, at least on paper, be a triple tank team with triple tank largely out of the meta. So it's going to be a voyage of discovery, you'd have to say, for KongDoo Uncia today.
I mean, they've had plenty of time to get ready. Haven't seen these guys play since Season 2. Haven't really been taking part in any of those Korean online leagues either. So they've had plenty of time to prepare. Panker especially with that Winston.
And they're a consistent team. Season 1 semi-finalists, Season 2 quarterfinalists have always made it out of groups. But who knows if we can keep those same expectations for KongDoo Uncia this season.
All right, well, now on the other side of the spectrum, it's X6 Gaming, the newcomers here in this matchup going up against the veterans. Let's hear from these guys.
안녕하세요. 챌린저스를 1위로 마무리하고 시즌3에 합류하게 된 X6 게이밍입니다.
X6 게이밍이 에이펙스 오면 사강 봅니다. 이 팀이 보여주는 가능성은요 어마어마하고요. 느낌이 확 오더라고요.
승강전에서는 저희 기량의 반도 못 보여드린 것 같아서 너무 아쉽고 시즌3에 들어가면은 저희 100% 보여드려서 만족시켜드리고 싶어요.
다른 팀들이랑 다른 게 공격자 폭과 함께 다 같이 연습이 잘 돼 있다 보니까 용검 켜는 타이밍도 거기에 다 맞춰져 있어요.
맞아요. 예.
진짜 빨라요.
저희는 앞뒤 안 가리고 불리한 상황에서도 공격적으로 하는 성향인 것 같아요. 여러 가지 조합을 다 준비하고 있기 때문에 어떤 카드든지 보여드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다. 저희 팀 키플레이어는 타임보이 선수라고 생각합니다. 제일 번뜩이는 플레이를 보여준 적도 많고 자기가 에이스라고 생각하니까 그냥 띄워줘야죠. 당연히 여기까지 올 줄 알았기 때문에 저희 하던 대로 하면은 그냥 다 이기고 올라갈 것 같아요. 최소 4강? 기존 에이펙스 팀들보다 좀 더 좋은 결과도 충분히 보여드릴 수 있을 거라고 생각해요. 다시 한번 이길 팀은 루나틱 하기예요. 한 번 이겼었어요, 저희 대회를. 어느 팀이 더 잘하는지는 뭐 경기 보면은 아실 거라고 생각해요. 저희가 시즌3 에이펙스 깔끔하게 접수하겠습니다. 마지막으로 저희 잘생긴 막내 베베 많이 사랑해주세요.
Kappa pride indeed, but some good words coming out there From the side of X6, Time Boy definitely going to be the focal point of this team as far as the DPS is concerned.
And even though Godsby drew the attention to Lunatic High as a potential rival, I think the rivalry for X6 should be with our last attempted Royal Roader, which was Meta Athena back in Season 2. This is a team that is shooting to do the same as Meta Athena, make an instant impression. Meta Athena stopped one short of making it to a grand final in their first season in the major leagues, and X6, especially before we saw them in the promotion tournament, were being talked about in the same breath as a team like Meta Athena. We saw Godsby, he said, okay, we had a bit of a down performance in the promotion tournament. We're going to show our true sides. We don't know what to expect about either of these teams, but if X6 are going to have that same impression, they need to start with a pretty comfortable performance against KongDoo Uncia.
Yeah, even if they don't come up with a win, they need to look very competitive here in this first set. I mean, he mentions taking down Lunatic High as of late, 2-1 victory for them to qualify for the latest Nexus Cup.
And on that day, it was Time Boy, specifically on Tracer, dealing with Jae Hung in the backline. How many DPSs have been able to do that with his deadly sleep dart accuracy? That was a while ago. This is on the main scene. And we'll see how X6's long-awaited debut in Apex does show off their skills. Time Boy and Godspeed, to me, really are the stars of this team. We'll see if they're joined by a third DPS, or if it will be the 2-2-2 strategy that X6 was playing back during the promotion tournament.
See how they want to shake it up. For now, though, you can see still just not a lot of information for these new members of that KongDoo Uncia roster, Decay and Damon. Just not sure what to expect from these guys. I mean, everything is just indicating triple DPS, but never know. Maybe they're going to shake things up for us here today.
Probably not going to see a lot of that Zarya that you see as the flex choice for both Time Boy and Godspeed. Zarya has been largely falling away. People will still bring it out here and there. I'm sure Hoon will certainly have a go at it, but Choya Bin, I imagine, will be almost certainly on the Diva duty on the side of X6. But otherwise, going to be pretty much as expected. Not a lot of information at all for KongDoo Uncia, given we have 3 debutants and a player role swapping.
We talk about half of the starting roster, and then there's just Butcher waiting in the wings. So there's just a lot to be discovered here today. So we're all going on an expedition voyage here when it comes down to KongDoo Uncia.
And even with previous results, say their results on Hybrid in their first 2 seasons, with this much changing, how much of this prep, how much of this research is really applicable to KongDoo Uncia, given that, again, a lot has changed for this lineup. Bubbly smiling very sweetly there with his Lucio. Even the new Lucio is a new thing for specifically him, because we have not seen KongDoo Uncia after the Lucio changes.
I think he's my favorite one in the Sailor outfit. It looks so great. Oh, dear.
I mean, what comes next season? We still don't know.
I know, that's the big question.
The sky is now the limit. Pilot uniforms?
That would be cool.
I want to see them walking into Top Gun. Come on, OGN.
That would be pretty great.
Yeah.
Leather jackets, the nice bombers with the sunglasses on.
Sounds amazing.
All right.
We got to talk to their wardrobe people, clearly.
Maybe we should just become their wardrobe people. How about that? We'll just take their jobs.
No arguments.
Perfect. All right, well, starting us off here, our first Battleground control map. We'll see what it's going to be. Looks like Lijiang Tower to kick things off. We do have that best-of-1 tiebreaker. Will be Oasis here today. But for now, we'll take a trip over to China, see which we're going to start off with, Gardens, Night Market, or the Control Center.
Long-awaited debut for X6 Gaming in Apex. Sort of a re-debut, you'd say, for KongDoo Uncia, whose lineage from Season 1 and Season 2 only barely applies. So it feels like we're getting 2 new rosters. One wants to make an instant impression, one we'll get to. Excited to get things started. We are also on the April 27th patch, so that minimum at 33% to capture a control point. And guess what? Genji's even better because it's more reliable now. All those pesky bugs are gone.
Yep, they've shaped them up. They've got things ready to go. So no more of those pesky 1% tags on the point. Means more competitive games for us here today, Baba Smithy. So let's go ahead, not waste any more time, jump right onto our first map. It's Lijiang Tower. All right, Control Center it is. You have the fans there in the audience for KongDoo. And even X6 is a new team. Having quite a many few people turning out for them to show their support.
I'm just happy that we've reached Season 3 and everyone's got cheers, everyone's hyped. We all know the format. We're finally seeing it all shake out. Waiting to see what the starting rosters are here in terms of hero choice. How much triple DPS we're getting today? Predictions are quite a lot. We got Rogue in our second set, so we can pencil in at least a large percentage.
Suddenly they start playing quad tank. It's just like, all right then.
It could be like solo queue games. 6
Roadhog's
DPS.
Roadhog's basically a DPS, right?
It's also a healer. Always a good feel when you get the most healing on the team, Roadhog.
Well, already here for KongDoo Uncia showing that Genji Soldier Tracer, so dive comp coming through. A nice soldier to complement it all.
And triple DPS for KongDoo Uncia, like you say, triple DPS. Only on the one side, though, it is just a double DPS for the side of X6. Choyubin on that patented diva of his.
Yeah, won't be seeing any Genji, so a little less back line threat there, but already Panker gonna go down. Time Boy popping off on that Tracer, getting things going. He builds up for that meter, but oh, Damon knocked off the map.
Yeah, double boops on both sides. One boop only getting the mech, though, as the numbers are definitely going over the side of KongDoo Uncia. They're winning this first salvo.
Yeah, they lose one right off the bat, but they're able to get back in, take out more members of X6, so it looks like the first cap might be coming through for them as the respawns start coming in. Time Boy not gonna be able to dash back in fast enough to get the contest by the look of things. Start retaking this, but for now, still going to be a bit of a standoff. Damon gets a pop onto Godsby with the Helix Rockets. They take out Gilly as well. Dance showing off the accuracy of the Zenyatta as Poise just dashes around with his Tracer, trying to build up for another pulse bomb.
Because Diva's here, of course, takes longer for them to actually fully clear the points, and no first capture yet, even though it's a shooting gallery for Damon. Finally, they take the point. Looked like Diva took too long to close down the Soldier the first time. Then, of course, you have to fight on two different fronts to be able to take out the 3 DPS. In the end, the Soldier profited. Good ult percentage here for KongDoo Uncia and the first capture.
Yeah, and I mean, Panker, the first one to go down, still has a larger ultimate meter built up compared to
Decay
Nosebite.
already has the Genji ultimate, so Uncia already pretty set here to hold the map, although...
Time Boy looking for a pick, dashing in, doesn't have the pulse bomb in time. It's a mid-melee swing. Meanwhile, that Dragon Blade does come out from Decay as he dashes in, looking to finish off Nosebite and gets him with the help of Bubbly. You lose Dance and Bubbly, so both supports gone here for KongDoo Uncia. This could be an opening for X6.
Really late Transcendence there for Bebe. They have gone too far. They are slowly turning the tides here, X6.
Poise goes low, doesn't have the recall. He will fall. The recap getting ready to come through here for X6. Almost have 75% of it here. But Panker popping that Primal Rage will buy a crucial amount of time for the rest of the team to get back in onto the point. Transcendence now coming through from
Keeping
Dance as
Panker
they
alive.
join in. Keeps him up. Even through that Discord orb there from Bebe. Self-destruct tossed out by Hyobin, looking for a pick. Won't find anything as they keep contesting over this one. Now the sound barrier down from KongDoo Uncia, matched by X6, as it's just an all-out brawl, but the meter still ticks up here for KongDoo. 70% about to be attained, as it's just a couple seconds away from being a cap here for X6, but KongDoo will not back down.
Still waiting for the flip. Finally comes over at 72%. Impressive communication between Panker and Dance to know exactly that the Transcendence would be there to get them, what, 25% bonus percentage? Probably worth, although they will be attacking with no ults. But knowing though X6 had to use everything to take the point as well. So pretty equal here, and of course, big control lead to KongDoo Uncia.
Poise having to get out of dodge there. Uses the recall to get away from that Discord orb. Self-safe. So he gets a little bit of a trade-in onto Poise, trying to build up for another pulse bomb. He will have it here in just a second. Can he find the right target? Meanwhile, Decay with another Dragon Blade dashing in from behind. Finds Bebe and Godsby. Gets rid of Gilly. Both the supports taken out. The team wipe about to come through. There it is. Time Boy does keep himself alive, but off the point might as well be dead, and KongDoo get a very swift retake.
Yeah, 3K for the debutant DK. We heard Dance compare him to Who Are You, and this 16-year-old Genji certainly started off with a much better second ultimate than he did with his first. Still, good stuff from Uncia. They had to use a lot, but it's going to have to be a pretty perfect retake for X6. They're kind of waiting on Bebe to pick up the Transcendence. 96%. They probably want to open with that. You'd have to think if X6 are going to take this point.
I mean, they used a bit, but they still have plenty to use now.
Transcendence
coming down, going to be matched here by Bebe. Everybody just piles in, trying to stay on top of that, but Poise still gets picked, actually taken out by Gilly. Now Godsby with that tack visor, finds the enemy soldier, but gets dashed through by Decay as they take him out, but he is answered for by the boop from the enemy Lucio. X6 pushing back in, will get the retake here at 99%, but now they have to hold on to this the entire time.
They didn't even have to invest really anything, only their own Transcendence to answer the one that was used by Dance. So 3 ultimates and the Primal Rage also. will soon be available for the side of X6 Gaming.
Yeah, it's really just the two. The Tac Visor from Godspeed getting some nice picks. But
Decay's ultimate here is probably the big story. First one, not one to remember. Second one on this stage, much better. It's available now.
Pulse Bomb comes out. Primal Rage has to get popped there by Panker to keep himself alive through it. As that sound barrier comes down, now Damon with the high ground. Popping the Tac Visor, won't get popped by that self-destruct, keeps himself safe and is just firing round after round into No Smite. Dragon Blade comes out now, slicing away is Decay, looking for the Diva. The Discord Orb thrown down. They will get the pop on the mech, and they take him out, which means the recap getting ready to come through. Gilly trying to buy some time, drops the sound barrier just before he goes down, but he's not going to last much longer. He gets taken out. The retake is there from KongDoo Uncia. And now X6 backs against the wall. They just have very few ways of getting in here. Timeboy dashing around the side, pops the recall, keeping himself up, but the Discord Orb will not be enough here for No Smite. He goes down, and it's just going to be cleanup time for KongDoo. This is looking really good for them to be able to take this. X6 continues to try piling in, but one after another, they go down. Bebe tossing out the translocator, just barely misses it, can't get on the point. And first round of Lijiang Tower goes over to KongDoo.
Yeah, the triple DPS, you could see there the DPS ults had so much value on the side of KongDoo Uncia. They didn't have to stack them most of the time. We saw one person opening, usually it was the Soldier opening with the Tac Visor, then later Decay using his Genji ult. The staggering of ults worked really well, and there was no Transcendence to really cleanly answer a single DPS ult like there might have been in a previous season. So, pass marks for KongDoo Uncia on their first debut. And X6 Gaming, they don't seem to have the flexibility to jump onto triple DPS, at least from what we've seen so far.
These new members coming onto the roster, KongDoo Uncia looking really strong on that triple DPS, and they get the win there. They're not going to change anything up. Still going to be Panker running on the Winston. So we'll see if they can have that victory already come through on Lijiang, put themselves a 1-up in the match.
Choyobin really needs to make value out of the Diva. That's the hero that he is known for, is what he's played basically 100% of game time. Also the hero that does prevent them from running triple DPS in most times.
Killing Bubbly, going to be a nice way to start things off, but they do lose Snow Smite into the exchange as Poise just starts stacking up that Pulse Bomb. 33%, and X6 will have the fast track in onto the point, but this is not going to be without contention as KongDoo Uncia start pushing in. They get rid of Bebe off the bat. Damon with a double kill. Comes up huge, and that's going to be Gilly going down as well as Hyobin. They pop him out of the mech, they take him down. So Uncia starting to gain some control here, but No Smite jumps in. Pretty tanky, but not tanky enough as he gets taken down. And Uncia, they'll just spin that one right on its head, looking pretty reminiscent of Control Center already.
I gotta say, the excitement for multiple DPS is coming through. We already saw Decay's very nice 3K on his second Dragon Blade on the first map, and now we're seeing Damon with some very impressive tracking on the Soldier. So hit scan and also the Genji quotients of this triple DPS looking good for KongDoo Uncia. And X6 with this dive comp, no Genji. Nice little assassination onto Panker. That's the only tank down for Uncia. This might be the oncoming from X6.
Yeah, really good isolation there by Timeboy. Finds the Pulse Bomb target. The barrier not coming down in time to intercept it in midair. That will be a retake here for X6. 25%, all that was accrued for KongDoo Uncia, so a pretty swift one. We'll see how much longer X6 can hold on to this. They didn't get very far in the first round. Need to have a better showing, need to have this win to go ahead and extend us to a third map. But okay, jumping into the back line, draws out the Dragon Blade, but everybody targets him immediately, gets taken out by the bump from Hyobin. Transcendence coming down from Bebe, keeping the rest of the members alive. Gilly goes low, will get taken out by Bubbly, but it's still X6 winning the fight. 4 members dead on the side of KongDoo Uncia. 5 as Poise jumps off the map. They'll maintain control.
And miscommunication between Dance and Decay. Dance had Transcendence, was going to open with it, but died just before he was able to use Transcendence. So Decay's ult was used completely in vain. They'll now need to go for probably an eco push to get Decay back up the ultimate, to get real value out of this dive comp. And now X6 have good defensive ultimates, a good position.
Anchor jumping forward, Pulse Bombs comes down, triple kill! Going over to Timeboy, lines it up, and Panker delivers it right into the unwelcoming arms of KongDoo Uncia. A huge play buying X6 crucial time.
And that's the thing, is it buys time. We're gonna see the replay. Timeboy was called the ace by his teammate Godspeed, and a triple kill like that will certainly vindicate the plaudits. KongDoo Uncia, they wanted an eco push, they didn't want to commit, but they don't get any ult charge onto their Genji.
No, they don't. Now Poise dashing around, playing with fire, toss out the Pulse Bomb, won't find anything for it. Now has to get away from that self-destruct. Makes it around the corner, but Decay can't say the same, and now Bubbly gets taken out by the Helix Rockets. X6 looking to hold this. They do have a cap coming through, 50% re-attained here for the side of KongDoo Uncia, but they can't stick on it. X6 maintain control as they approach overtime. 90% on the meter thus far.
Yeah, Uncia was trying to get them to use support ultimates. They did get a sound barrier, but Transcendence wasn't up, and crucially, Decay is pretty much slowly inching towards the Dragon Blade that's so important for their inevitable take. They don't have much time. We're already in overtime.
Yep, you can hear that Primal Rage coming through here from the side of No Smite, just trying to smack them off the map. It's going to be matched by that of Pankers. Transcendence thrown down there by Bebe, keeping his members alive, and Godspeed just fires off with Attack Visor, coming up with multiple kills. And this is looking very good now for X6. 5 members dead. Poise just coming back up, but Decay goes down. The meter's dropping. Can the Tracer get there in time? The answer is going to be no. X6 tie it up on Lijiang Tower. They're going to take us to Gardens for one final round.
Yeah, Timeboy was a superstar with the triple kill. Stopped there from being an eco push, and by the time they were starting to farm up ultimate on the Genji, it was too late. We were already in overtime, so good play there from X6. Seeing the strides of both teams now. Both of them have got their rust out, finally getting back onto the big stage in Apex. And now it'll be really interesting to see who will take the early lead. They really couldn't afford that first miscommunication where Dance went down with Transcendence just as the ultimate was popped by the Genji there. So unfortunately, that lack of communication between Decay and Dance really struggled things and staggered things for KongDoo Uncia. No changes in lineup. KongDoo Uncia open up to DPS again, of course.
Yep, but now Godspeed coming through on the Pharah. They do have Bebe as well on this Mercy, so Pharmacy coming through, going to be firing away from the skies. Damon, really the only one that's going to be able to snipe them out unless they get into a position for Decay to dash up into the air. You hear that E coming out, Damon goes down, so a nice start for X6. They can posture very far forward.
Yeah, I mean, with Damon be going down, there, as you say, is no one to deal with the Pharah, so mixing things up are X6, and that's to the benefit of the Pharah. Shooting gallery from the high ground for Godspeed.
Oh, trying to get bubbly. One last hit would do it, but the explosion on that last rocket won't get it, but they still, it's enough to force back KongDoo Uncia as the first cap comes through for X6. The first time they've been able to get the first cap as KongDoo's been coming out on top every single time, but now with this Pharmacy comp, seems like maybe it's going to be too much for KongDoo to deal with. Maybe we'll see some swaps coming through.
Yeah, either swaps or approaching from coverage and not approaching from the bridge where they can just be sniped out from the air by the Pharah.
Good dash through there from Decay, gets himself a lot of that ultimate meter built up. As Dance takes out No Smite, they'll pop Gilman out of the mech, they take him down. They only lose Dance for it, but the res comes through from X6 as they try to hold on, but Godspeed goes down right off the bat, as does Bebe. So immediately 2 answering kills, looking for a third. The Pulse Bomb will find No Smite. So a retake here for KongDoo in the works as they can try to get rid of Gilly, who's being a nuisance on that Lucio. They take him out, they get it. 41% though already for X6.
Yeah, res gets them about 12% extra charge, but also crucially, both DPS ultimates, both the Genji ult and the Tac Visor, were used to finally claim the points. A good value from the res, which is one of those abilities that's pretty fast to build up in terms of ult percentage.
Yeah. Now Godspeed here, sitting with that barrage ready to go from the skies, but he gets picked off. Damon coming up big on that soldier. He gets booped back. It's a sound barrier to try to keep himself alive as the D.Va and the Tracer just go jumping in onto him. Gets the health back, trying to stick in here, but he'll get taken out in the end. And on the backside of the fight, Dance goes down. So X6 coming up with a couple picks, but this hasn't really translated into much as far as the cap is concerned. Pulse Bomb comes down. Panker has to pop the Primal Rage. Still going low, trying to leap his way out to safety, but gets taken out in the end. Xiaobin just body blocking all of this. Barrage coming down.
Dance died early in the picture, so once again Transcendence couldn't get full value. Primal Rage only used for delay. Means that about 48% is built up for KongDoo Uncia.
For a second there, Hyobin is on the same team as Godspeed, so not blocking, but you know, just being there for moral support.
Overwatch is complicated sometimes.
Yeah,
Kilios.
sometimes it just flips around a little bit too much, but it's okay. We're back on the track now.
So we're watching KongDoo Uncia. As you said, they have to approach from coverage because they don't really have the tech to deal with the Pharah. Finally getting onto the point. Let's see the Transcendence, which has been the difference between the successes and the failures of KongDoo Uncia. Here it is.
And Transcendence coming down as Decay just goes slicing away with that Dragon Blade. Has to back out though.
Mercy's
buying a lot of time
first.
with that self-destruct. But yeah, Bebe and Osmite both go down. So Uncia looking good for their odds to get this retake. Just need to finish off these members. They lose Bubbly, but they answer one onto Gilly. So no pesky Lucio bouncing around the walls. As they try to stick into the point, the cap finally coming through, and X6 is going to have to let this one go. 50% here for Uncia, so a decent amount of time for X6 to play with. They have 3 ultimates available.
Getting value out of the res is probably What X6 was hoping for, but the target selection, which we've complimented already. But KongDoo Uncia was good. First to go down was Bebe. Here's the approach, predictably from the bridge here, as Godspeed not going to find too many targets. They can use the point for coverage.
Wants to build up that.
Panker's
ultimate
dead
as best he
first.
can. Yeah, Panker does go down, and they get Bubbly as well, just firing off from the skies yet again as Godspeed. Pulse Bomb comes down, takes out No Spine as Damon firing off with the Tac Visor, looking for the kills, but has to reload, so cannot finish off the enemy Lucio. Gilly stays alive, barely so. Rez in the meantime, used by Bebe, popping everybody back up, keeping himself in the point as they try for the retake. Tied on the percentage thus far for KongDoo as they start inching past X6. But they're sitting pretty inside the point. They get the recap, and now it's all down to the wire in this final round of Lijiang.
Yeah, Damon also super delayed when it comes to grouping with the team. Only just respawned.
Pretty much every ultimate there from X6. The barrage does come back up here. No Smite has the primal rage, so some time-buying tactics available from the Winston. But now you can see the sound barrier used by KongDoo Uncia as they try to push back in. Godspeed looking for an angle, has a barrage, dropping it down, takes out Bubbly off the bat. Doesn't have too many other targets, does get Damon.
2 DPS
Flicks to the
down.
side, but now Decay drawing out the Dragon Blade, takes out Gilly to start things off, but Time Boy comes up with a crucial pick. Pulse Bomb thrown down, not going to find a hit, and thus far it's KongDoo Uncia winning the fight as they desperately try to retake this in overtime. But X6 firing back, gets rid of Panker, gets rid of Dance, now looking for Poise. Time Boy gets the kill, they'll get it. They'll take Lijiang Tower 1-0 over top of KongDoo Uncia to start things off.
Yeah, really big comeback from X6 Gaming. The triple DPS certainly showed some signs from KongDoo Uncia, but both DPSs going down at the start of the last fight meant that it was only Decay, and once again, his Nano Blade wasn't with Transcendence, wasn't with really any team utility to set him up. End result is that X6 Gaming, they go the more practice route. They stick with their true 2-2-2 roots, and they look comfortable doing it. So X6 Gaming, the team that's changed the least, and that's why, in the end, just a bit more reliable over the course of the first 3 maps.
Yep, and now Uncia, after losing that map, maybe going to have the thoughts of bringing Butcher out in the back of their head. Triple DPS not finding much success outside of that victory on Control Center.
Still, you know, in terms of debuts, when you're changing so many different parts of the roster, winning a first point, not being swept on Assault, on Control, is not necessarily a big criticism to the side of KongDoo Uncia. Even Runaway, who looked pretty lost on their first map, waited until map 3 to bring in Kaiser. So we will be going over to Hybrid next, and it'll be interesting to see how both attack and defensive phases look with their new triple DPS identity on KongDoo Uncia.
Already good start. Oh, there we go. That's Butcher.
Wow.
So we will go ahead and have our 7-minute pause. So right off the bat, they're going to go ahead and swap Butcher in. You can hear the fans going a bit crazy there, seeing a familiar face coming back out. So
First time we've had this swap after the first map, so I didn't think they would. I thought they would persist for longer. Very surprised to see them making this adjustment early, but obviously they saw there's something they didn't like and they wanted to match the identity of X6.
yeah, it seems like they don't want to try running that triple DPS into the 2-2-2. They just want to match it, perhaps. If not, change things up even more and go for a triple DPS. They still do have that flex potential coming through from Decay.
Hope we get some more information about these swaps from interviews perhaps after the fact, because, again, changing so early, especially with triple DPS seeming to be the dominant strategy, is a really big surprise. With Butcher also a bit more experience on the line.
Yep. All right, well, we'll see how this one's going to play out here for the side of KongDoo Uncia. If that change, that one change will be enough, or if X6 will just find themselves at match point. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have our second map.
세상은 무서운 곳이야. 심지어 여기 눈바니에서도 우릴 보호할 존재는 필요하지. 5R15 방어 로봇을 소개할게. 옴닉 사태 때의 구형 이디나 모델을 완전 새롭게 개조한 거야. 얘들이 우릴 지켜줬어. 잠시 동안은. 둠피스트가 공격했을 때 난 공항에 있었어. 로봇들은 속수무책이었지. 모두가 널 포기했지만 난 너에게서 가능성을 봤어. 그래서 내가 나섰어. 프로그램을 업그레이드하고 마음을 주었지.
새로운 인격 모델 설치 완료. 시스템 재부팅 중. OVERWATCH 온라인.
아니 그런 거 말고 위대한 영웅에겐 진짜 이름이 필요해. 오리사는 어때? 난 널 강하고 용감하게 만들었어. 넌 아직 배울 게 많아. 가끔 사고 치고 와서 날 화나게 할지도 모르지. 그래도 난 네가 우리에게 꼭 필요한 영웅이 될 거라 믿어.
내 이름은 오리사. 당신을 안전하게 지키겠습니다. 그것이 제가 작동하는 목적입니다.
나 진짜 멋있으면 어떡해? 꺼져 걸라고.
그러니까 좀 계속 얘기할 때 자본 좀 들리다가 갑자기 끊길 때가.
태준이가 보고 있다 괜찮지?
파이팅 하자.
태준이 생일 선물 하나 주자.
가자. 상하네. 야 메리시 야 죽었다 소리. 우리 메리시 죽었어. 메리시 나이스.
파라 너무 프리한 것 같은데. 파라 뛰어볼게요. 야 거점. 잘했다.
아 내가 너무 한게 없다.
천천히 해. 너무 조급해하지 말고.
지금 돌아가서 수면총이나 뭔가 이벤트 하나 만들 생각이 있는 거죠?
도대체 못하는 게 뭔가?
이거 오늘따라 애들 다 조금씩 긴장한 거 같네. 그럼 얘들아 브리핑 조금만 더 많이 하자. 우리 스크림 할 때보다 말 되게 적다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from that short little break. 15 seconds on the clock here. All that is left for KongDoo Uncia as Poise goes out and Butcher comes in. So a familiar face rejoining the roster. The fans are certainly happy. And it seems like this is going to be KongDoo going back a bit more to their roots. Maybe not the triple tank that we've seen from them so much in the past, but looking like 2-2-2 to match out of X6.
So just to recap, if you're joining us late, we've had our first substitution after only a single game. It was only Control that was played when Poise was subbed out for Butcher, who of course fans from Season 1 and Season 2 of KongDoo Uncia will know. That's a double thumbs up on the side of X6. So we still had precious little Overwatch, one map over to the side of X6 Gaming, and that big change. So a surprise to see it so early. I hope we get an interview later, find out perhaps why so early is. We look for the selection. Remember, all maps available, and Numbani is the selection by KongDoo Uncia for our second map.
Yep, so going to be going over to this one. We'll see how they can play together when it comes down to these hybrid maps. X6 as well. See how much prowess they have, because Lijiang Tower looked pretty decisive from them, especially there on the side of Gardens. A bit more back and forth for Command Center and Night Market, but overall coming out with that win. And if they could get Numbani, that would put them at match point over top of one of the veteran teams here in Apex Season 3 of KongDoo Uncia, a team that has always made it out of the group stage.
I just need more information on both KongDoo Uncia and on the side of X6. So more Overwatch, that's all I asked for, Achilles.
Well, I got good news for you, Papa Smithy.
Oh, what is it?
We got plenty more Overwatch to go. There's
Excellent.
at least 2 more maps in this set, and then we have a whole other one.
Music to my
after that.
ears, Achilles.
Music to my ears as well. Let's go ahead and jump on the Numbani for our second map of this first match of the night.
Get it?
And we all got it.
Feels bad for Poise, though. He only got it once.
Better to get it once than to never get it at all.
It wasn't lost, though, so it's a bit of a hollow get it. Hollow got it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just coming up with band names now.
Hollow got it.
Yeah. I'd listen to that.
Be an interesting one. What genre is that?
Rap.
Rap? Like straight, like gangster rap or like hip hop?
The most gangster.
Okay.
The only gangster that's the only level of gangster that's possible wearing for Koreans wearing sailor suits.
All right. Hollow got it. The spiritual successors to the Wu-Tang Clan.
Hey, KongDoo Uncia have surprised us with their uniforms twice already.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Godspeed.
Pushed off the map by his own Roadhog. By his own teammate. Booping him off of there.
This will be KongDoo Uncia on attack for our second map of the night. Looking at the defensive setup for the side of X6. Choyobin, predictably, is going to be on the Diva again. It's going to be pretty standard defense on the side here, but it's... I say pretty standard, but it's not really standard for what we've seen in Season 3 at all. It's triple tank on the side of X6 Gaming on defense. Only Soldier control the high ground. It's the KongDoo Uncia special from previous seasons, it feels like, for X6 Gaming.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for the pickoffs there with the hook. He can land one down onto Dance, who's running the Zenyatta yet again. That'll be very crucial in opening things up here. KongDoo Uncia still going to be going with that triple DPS as they move forward. So Butcher just pushing out in onto the Soldier Demon, wrapping around onto the high ground. Discord Orb comes down as they look for Hyobin, but he makes his way out successfully. Just poking in, looking to build up that pulse bomb, but they actually take out Time Boy to start things off. So nice opening pick here for KongDoo Uncia. Butcher goes low, makes his way out. KongDoo, they get that first tick coming through, take out No Smite as he gets rid of Decay. X6 trying to fire back. Pulse bomb comes down, they get Hyobin in the mech. So good start here already for Uncia as they look to get that second tick coming through, and maybe just the first point already.
The defense and the respawns are starting to trickle in for the side of X6 Gaming. It's a good start though, almost the full point claimed.
They're still going to contest this one as Time Boy pushes in. That's going to be the Nano Boost down in onto the Roadhog to keep himself alive, and Godspeed pushes in, so this will be surrendered by the look of it by KongDoo Uncia. They get the second tick, however, so they're very close to getting this capture.
Yeah, and Godspeed did not feel pressured enough to actually use the tactical visor, which he got just at the tail end. So good attack, all things considered, from KongDoo Uncia, and they have a lot of ultimates coming soon to cement this capture. So still looking like a likely capture. 2 minutes 40 left on the timer.
Yeah, and then Nano Boost not really doing anything. KongDoo just backing off, so they get rid of that ultimate as well, so can't combine that with Attack Visor. Meanwhile, though, KongDoo and Uncia pushing forward, have that sound barrier coming through.
How much will they have to invest here?
Okay, looking for a pick, hasn't had to use that Dragon Blade yet. Now Butcher on the high ground with that Attack Visor, firing away, gets rid of Godspeed. They'll take out Gilly. And this should be the cap you'd have to expect here for KongDoo and Uncia as they get 4 members down, 5 as No Smite falls. Been trying to rush back to the point perhaps, but just have to let this one go. So 4.5 minutes for the streets phase for KongDoo and Uncia.
And we have to really compliment Butcher in particular for his flexibility, because he's doing his best Zunba impression, being able to flex from previously a Zarya Diva player onto the soldier like Zunba was doing for Lunatic High on the first day of this tournament. So it's another level of flexibility that's been required. It feels like we no longer have just true one-tricks, apart from perhaps Lucio players, given the level of flexibility needed in Overwatch right now.
Damon goes into the back looking for Bebe, won't find the hit and actually gets taken out. The Zenyatta comes up with the kill. He still builds up very close to that pulse bomb. Will have it on the return. Doesn't get that crucial pick off, so Bebe just getting some more meter for himself as he builds towards that Transcend and swap it off the Ana.
One's just showing a lot of respect. Only the Mosquito of the Tracer was swatted away, and yet they still do disengage, so really want to pick their engages smartly.
Oh, pulse bomb coming through, and looks like Nosebite jumping out, finds Gilly, takes him out, so Damon comes up with a double kill. Pop Gobin out of that mech, and he goes down, and that's just going to be a near wipe here in favor of KongDoo Uncia. They'll keep that payload moving. Plenty of time still on the clock.
Yeah, when you have playmaking ability like that, I guess you do wait for the Tracer, because the instant double kill really vindicated, waiting for Damon's respawn. Don't have to use too much on top of that, not like they had other ultimates apart from Decays.
And both these Tracers are really taking advantage of that Winston delivery system, just sticking it to him and having it pull it into multiple members of their team.
And because of where they were stalled, it's actually very difficult for them to defend this final point as Decay has the Dragon Blade.
And dropping in from the top, we'll go ahead, pull out the blade, looking for the enemy Lucio to start things off, but the sound barrier comes down, keeping Gilly alive, at least for the moment now. Butcher back on that high ground, pops Attack Visor, but will just get body blocked here. That right click from Gyobin. He gets popped out of the mech, however, and should fall. That's going to be the kill coming through. Butcher goes down as Godby takes him out, but that's really just one answering kill that XX has been able to get. The rest of the members falling down just periodically throughout that fight. Now 4 minutes on the clock as they start pushing towards point C.
The XX were pretty much set up to fail in that scenario when Decay could come from an angle with the Dragon Blade up, and X6, because of where they were stalled originally, didn't have time to get in position with a pretty positioning-based defensive comp on the side of X6 Gaming. So that second point capture does come through. We see KongDoo Uncia pushing into the final point.
Pulse bomb coming down here from Time Boy, does find Dance, but doesn't get anything else on top of it. Pushing in, trying to get rid of that Winston there with the Discord Orb. They will take out Panker in the end. So nice little pick's going to be delaying KongDoo Uncia's push by some time for X6, but already, you have to say, very impressive play from Uncia, swapping Butcher back in, having him flex over to the Soldier for the longest time, now on the Diva, and still finding success with the triple DPS start.
And Dance's Transcendences were also much more in sync with Decay when they needed to be. He's now moved away from the Zenyatta onto the Ana for a Nano Blade in the future.
Gonna build up to that one, jumped way high into the air there, trying to get away from anybody that can take him out with a Discord Orb. Pops the Primal Rage, keeps himself alive. Meanwhile, Decay, bit of nose bite. Damon dashes into the back. Pop the mech of Gyobin, and he gets taken out by the Genji on the side of the fight. They get rid of Gilly, and Time Boy goes down. A near wipe yet again here for Uncia as they keep pushing in. 2.5 minutes just around the corner and get themselves onto that last point. X6 really struggling on the hybrid so far.
I really like to swap away from Zenyatta onto the Ana. The Ana should have a lot of space with just how there are different vantage points when you're attacking point C and trying to full push the payload. Okay, walking around. Doesn't quite have that Nano Blade available, may not even need it.
Yeah, dashes in the final melee comes through and he takes out Bebe. Retreats, keeps himself alive as he jumps over, and it's just going to be feeding more meter over to Dance. Does get hounded down, however, by Smite. So no Smite smacks him out of the sky. Gets rid of that Genji, but still, KongDoo Uncia poised to take this third point.
Waiting for their respawns. Dance will have a Nano Boost available. But you can see there are plenty of defensive ultimates on the side of X6, and of course pushing any point, even including Numbani final point, do come into a choke, and that's why we finally see Panker on his bread and butter, finally on the Reinhardt that he was such a star on in Season 2.
Yep. Way back there, Dance now has that Nano Boost ready to go, pops out the Sleep Dart, not sure if it connected. Either way, he has to retreat as that self-destruct comes through. Meanwhile, Panker gets taken out by Time Boy, Transcendence gets popped. just try to keep themselves alive. Bebe does help X6 stay alive, but they use a lot of ultimates just to stave off that push.
You're right, everything short of the Soldier ult and Lucio's sound barrier is used by the side of X6 Gaming. So Nano Blade available for KongDoo Uncia, soon to be the sound barrier. So pretty clear what is going to happen in the next 30 seconds or so when it comes to big time engages, but they only get one. They only get one realistic attempt here, KongDoo Uncia. So we'll see how they look. It looks like it's going to be a flanking move from Decay, who for now backs away. Pressure's on this young 16-year-old Genji.
Yeah, tosses out that nano boost. Here comes the blade. Sound barrier thrown down to keep him nice and healthy as well. Chasing in, trying to find Gilly, but looks like he might have eluded, but the rest of the team can't say the same. 4 members do go down. Gilly finally falling off the backside of the fight as X6 just keep falling to the wayside every single time they try to push forward into KongDoo Uncia. They'll get the team wiped, and they're going to continue pushing in. Just 30 seconds left on the clock. X6, we'll see how long they can delay this, just meters in front of point C.
And Nano Blade separated targets as you'd expect, and the rest were deleted by KongDoo Uncia. Final commitment though, big Earth Shatter.
Yeah, Earth Shatter there from Panker, looking for the charge. Won't quite get the pin, but still is just dispersing the members of X6 as they try to stick on top of that point. Pulse Bomb coming down there from Time Point, not going to find anything. Panker goes low, they do get no spite, they get Bebe, and they pop Yoban out. KongDoo Uncia looking to complete this one as Damon dashes in, trying to win that Tracer battle, trying to get rid of that pesky Lucio. They'll get both of them here just about in the end. Throws out a Pulse Bomb just to zone them off that payload. And now it's just 2.16 meters left to go. Another Dragon Blade here for Decay. See that Transcendence by Bebe trying to buy even more time. Keeps himself alive, at least for the moment. The rest of the members coming in from the respawn. But there it is. The completion comes through. Uncia in overtime are able to make it all the way to point C.
Yeah, the kill feed was bathed in blood. Red only, not a single blue side kill. Means that the full push was made by KongDoo Uncia. A lot more synergy. They seem to use their 7-minute tactical pause to reset, to really drop down after a good first map and then losing the next two on control. Pretty good attack phase, you'd have to say, from KongDoo Uncia on Nimbani. So their map selection paying off. Now we're going to see X6 Gaming make their approach, and again, not expected to be moving to the triple DPS, given that Choyobin has been basically D.Va only whenever we've seen him.
Yeah, and he's already hovering it here as well for the attack. See what KongDoo Uncia wants to bring out. Doubt we're going to see that Orisa, but we did see one finally on Tuesday.
It'd be kind of weird to not see a Torbjorn at all on Numbani defense. It is pretty much a staple. Lucio players like Toby famously moving over onto the Torbjorn pretty commonly on this map, so we'll see if we see any of those shenanigans from Uncia. For now, Bubbly, their Lucio, is considering his options, and, well, we're never really sure until you finally get to the point, but for now, Panker's playing with our hearts.
Yeah, hovering halfway in between the spawn and the point. Just, yep, there we go. Feels bad.
The buffs on the PB certainly looking interesting, though, when it comes to the Orisa, so maybe in the future we'll see more of her.
What's it going to be, Panker? Oh. I hate you. Playing with my heartstrings. Nice 360 leap. But seems like it will be the Torbjorn here for Bubbly.
Positioning of the Torbjorn and the Reinhardt, sorry, not the Winston in particular will be interesting. Can, of course, dive with the D.Va and Tracer, or use that bubble more defensively for the turret.
Triple DPS coming out here for the side of X6. They're only running Gilly on
Bebe
support.
actually, interestingly, on the Soldier, so another different flex, and we do actually see triple DPS after all by X6.
Yeah, intriguing flex, though, you have to say. No Smite jumping in, gaining that high ground, knocking everybody back, shoving them towards the spawn. Nice opening, but he gets taken out in the exchange. Just Damon firing back from the low ground, able to get rid of the Winston. They get rid of Bebe as well. And it's just going to be pretty even back and forth here as both sides exchange blows. Yoban popped out, taken down. Godsby is able to get Damon, though. There's just nothing gained on the meter for X6. And you can see Gilly just desperately trying to just zoom his way out of there with his life.
When you're running single healer Lucio,
no tick.
It is so risky, Achilles, because you have so much less healing than you'd expect, and you need to be on the back of the Lucio to really get value. So the moment that a couple went down from X6, it was very unlikely to be a successful push, and this is what happens when one of your support players has to flex away, is that didn't really feel like the synergy was there on the triple DPS.
Boy dashing around, drops down onto the point, trying to build up some meter here as he fires away into Butcher. back in onto that Diva, but won't get much done. They get themselves onto the point. They get the first tick, looking for the second one, but the Request now coming through. Diva goes in, has to peel back, or he loses the mech, but actually gets popped anyway as Baby takes him out. Gonna be a nice pickup here. Meanwhile, Godspeed having that Dragon Blade, looking for a target. Desperately trying to chase around, but won't find much. And we do hear that Molten Core getting popped by Bubbly on the other side of things. And it seems like they retake control of the point, stopping X6 yet again in their tracks. They get the second tick, but not much more than that. Yobin popped out of the mech. Not much more to be said there. So X6 gonna have to just try to gather themselves again, but only have a couple ultimates coming through.
And I'm really impressed with just how controlled KongDoo Uncia have been. As a triple tank team, they were known for being controlled. They were known for picking their spots, and they were able to do that again on defense, ceding the point, not dropping down until they had the right formation. Molten Core did the delay job it's built to do, and that means it's now third push. Third time's the charm for the side of X6 as well. That was casually 1v1'd there by Bubbly. Always feels good to flex away from the Lucio and pick up a pesky Tracer.
The turret didn't even do much there. It was really just Bubbly with his accuracy.
Forget how much that shotgun does point blank from the alternate fire of the Torbjorn.
I mean, I didn't even see the shotgun blast. I could have missed it, but I think that might have just been a left click. Headshot does quite a bit for the Tracer.
Casual headshots as a Lucio player. Hey, they are buffed on this patch, of course.
I won't commit to that. Definitely could have been a shotgun blast, but for now, X6 looking to push back in, but Bebe already goes down, still trying to play out on that soldier. Taken down by the pulse bomb. Pulse bomb time. Boy sitting on the point, has one of his own. Doesn't find a target, dashes in, trying to get the melee hit down onto the enemy Tracer, but gets sniped out by Damon, who's just holding that high ground.
I mean, speaking of holds, we're getting closer to a full hold if they get Molten Core anytime soon. You just can't see X6 even claiming first point on Numbani, so they'll be happy to. They don't know it, of course, but they're only having 60% on Torbjorn is a big factor. Triple ults available for KongDoo Uncia. We'll see if they launch Butcher into the front line on a nano-boosted Diva. As
a true ninja now. Here is Godspeed. He pushes in, the turret spots him, but nobody else has really paid attention. Gets a dash through, but won't find the kill. Reflection's up, trying to keep himself alive, but he's down to 18 HP. And there's the shotgun blast from Bubbly, takes him out. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, No Smite goes down. Hyobin popped by that self-destruct, tossed out by Butcher. And Uncia, 15 seconds left on this defense, look to complete this full hold.
I mean, they almost had to invest nothing on holding that push. Bubbly will have Molten Core. Would take some sort of push to not get full held here, but you throw all your darts at the wall, you see what sticks.
That'd be a bit of a miracle now. No Smite already jumping forward, has that primal rage, and he's already down to about half HP. He's getting worked down very steadily. Molten Core ready to go here from Bubbly. Hasn't had to use it yet. As Time Boy takes out Damon, he's swapping over to that soldier, but yeah, 3 dead. That should be it. The Molten Core popped as well. Self-destruct comes down, won't find anything for Hyobin. He gets taken out. That's the team wipe, and KongDoo Uncia pushed all the way in overtime to point C and then full hold on A. They pick up Numbani.
And our first instinct proved to be correct. We said, okay, with Choyobin on the roster, can't see them going triple DPS. That part wasn't true. They tried it. They flexed Bebe away from his usual role and put him onto the soldier.
And they stuck with it for so long.
On the first push, we're like, okay, we don't see the synergy. They only have Lucio for heals. They don't play around the Lucio. They look disconnected. And that was the correct impression. They didn't look like a team who had mastered triple DPS. They looked like a team that was pressured into triple DPS. They were uncoordinated left, right, and center. So in the end, KongDoo Uncia's roster swaps proved very successful, and we'll be going into our first break with everything equaled up. Our first ever roster swap after first map vindicated thus far. Even extra interesting to see what was caught. Was it by a coach or a player to go for that very early roster swap? Because it certainly worked on Numbani.
Yep, best of 3 from here. Nobody at match point yet. KongDoo Uncia, though, tying things up. But next, it's going to be that 2-point capture map. We saw X6 having a good showing on the King of the Hill style, so maybe they will fare better as we get ready to look for that. For now, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we will have our third map of this set. We'll see who takes the lead, who's going to be at match point, and who will be poised to win. Don't go anywhere.
솜브라가 누구냐고? 기록상 그녀는 없어. 존재하지 않아. 아무도 이 아이를 기억 못해. 그 전쟁 후엔 이런 애가 수두룩했거든. 하지만 이렇게 해킹을 잘한 나이는 없었지. 그리고 이 아이는 사람을 조종하는 것도 별일 아니라는 걸 알았어. 세상이 어떻게 돌아가는지 알고 나니 정보가 곧 힘이었지. 그래서 계속 해킹을 했어. 정치인하며 회사하며 정부하며 꼭 중독이라도 된 듯이. 그러다가 처음으로 누군가에게 발각됐어. 하드웨어를 못 쓰게 되면 업그레이드를 해야 하지. 아이는 사라지고 솜브라가 태어났어. 이제 난 준비됐어. 세상을 조종하는 게 누군지 알아낼 거야. 그들의 약점을 찾아 이용하겠어. 그때는 모두가 내 뜻대로 움직이겠지. 솜브라가 누구냐고? 너흰 영영 모를 거야. 아디오스.
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
노력은 선수를 만들고 코어 i7 프로세서는 멈추지 않는 파워를 드립니다.
Welcome back, OGN Legion, to Apex here, Season 3, Day 3. I'm Achilles. With me is Papa Smithy. If you're just joining us, where have you been? We're already a couple maps deep here in our first match of the day. KongDoo Uncia tying things up with a very convincing victory on Numbani.
Yeah, bringing back Butcher, one of their standbys, seemed to be the catalyst for them to lift themselves over X6 Gaming and take the hybrid Numbani. Move on to Assault next. Map choice will be over to the side of X6 Gaming, who looked a bit anemic pushing with the triple DPS. Surprised us that they had the hero pulls to get to triple DPS, but it felt like they kind of took it to a bridge too far, with Bebe moving away from his Ana and Zenyatta duty onto the Soldier. Yeah. When we saw that done from Butcher, it looked pretty good from the side of KongDoo Uncia on attack, but left a bit to be desired, and maybe have to go back and put that back into the practice phase before bringing it again. But we're still learning, remember. We already said KongDoo Uncia, 3 new roster changes. X6 Gaming, first match in Apex. We're learning about both squads, and they've already had up and down matches in what has been a stop-start night of Overwatch so far. But let's careen through this series. It's going to be Temple of Anubis for our third map.
Yep, coming out here with a 2-point capture. X6, it looked good. They looked very competitive on Lijiang Tower. So perhaps they can take that playstyle, translate that forward into the Temple of Anubis.
First time they'll be playing that on the OGN stage. Didn't play that during the promotion tournament. Haven't seen Temple in a little while, actually, when I've been casting, so excited to see it. Any assault map that's not Volskaya, I smile.
Anyone, that's not Volskaya or Hanamura.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great with me.
I love the pool that isn't Volskaya and Hanamura.
It's magnificent. You just have that every time.
One day there'll be another one.
That'll be interesting. Maybe that'll be the next map type. I have no idea, but it'd be cool to see what's on the
Sick
horizon.
leak, Kilios.
Oh, yes, this is the sickest of leaks coming out here right now. I have no information.
Nope.
No,
Not about anything.
No, where am I?
I don't know.
Who are you?
He's on Lunatic High.
Okay, well, this is map 3. We're going to go ahead and jump onto this Temple of Anubis. We'll see who can take match point and be poised to take the series.
I get it.
Good record for getting it today. Here the X6 fans still hanging in there despite the last map loss there, but still holding on tight. And again, a very surprising amount of X6 fans here today, despite this being one of the newest teams in Apex Season 3.
But they were definitely the hype Challenger team. That was the one that everyone had heard
said
of.
for meta, Tina.
Whether you were watching Challenger or not, if you were around the Korean scene, there was
No.
whispers of X6 everywhere. As
Tanker, don't you dare do this to me.
people have been threatening it, but again, I don't think it's time just yet. Tanker's going back home.
I'm so sad. Because every time I see it, this was every time in the promotion tournament when I was hovering, I got
You just need to stop putting your heart out there so readily, Achilles. You need to be a bit more controlled.
I'm just extra frustrated because, we finally saw the reset and I wasn't there casting.
How are you on dating apps? Do you just get excited every time?
We matched! There's someone new in my area. Look at this. Someone within 50 kilometers of me.
It's all right, mate. It's all
I'm
right.
very easily excited.
Just hold on to the tears. There's the break coming soon. Don't worry.
Anyway, opening up here, Godsby showing some prowess on the Widowmaker. Hopefully gets a headshot already, but doesn't find a kill. Gonna pop over up onto the high ground. Body shots coming through. But Panker gonna be holding up that shield, making sure that it's gonna be a harder time to get any kills coming through.
Yeah, right now, no one closing the distance on Godspeed at all.
Missing these shots in onto Bubbly. Would be a very nice pickup. Meanwhile, Time Boy jumping in onto the backside of point A. Gonna build up for that pulse bomb. Pretty close, getting a lot of shots in as well onto the Diva and this Winston.
Yeah, although they're not getting the kills with Godspeed, they are corralling KongDoo Uncia into some pretty bad terrain.
Well, that's the
First
pulse bomb
kill
ready to
finally.
go. Yeah, takes out Butcher, throws out the pulse bomb, won't find the stick. Butcher gets himself out to safety. The recall coming out, Time Boy trying to keep himself alive. Dash is coming through, he jumps in, trying to get around the backside of Bubbly and get rid of the Lucio. A couple more hits would get him, and they're able to get him in the end as Bebe takes him out with the Zenyatta, and that should be the first point going over to X6. Very convincing first attack so far, and now there we go. Get out to K just for good measure.
Even the cherry on top, what was a successful first attack, you would be understandable in being skeptical because Godspeed wasn't registering those sick headshots like Taimu and others have done in the past. But what it forced KongDoo Uncia to retreat to proved to be very, very successful for the side of X6, who don't have to invest much, get it on the first push, but Damon's onto the Sombra on point B defense. Makes a lot of sense on Anubis.
Yeah, jumps his way back. Only gets a couple shots off. Meanwhile, X6 completing this wraparound. Everybody just sitting inside the catacombs.
Crucially, KongDoo Uncia will have the sound barrier available, even with the snowball ults from X6 being advantage X6.
It's a hack in. It's the nano boost here, and Decay finds 3 already, just dashing through them one after the other. Godspeed, Baby, and Gilly all going down. They hit no smite, and X6, they just get their flames snuffed out there in an instant, but still have plenty of ultimates.
It's been a roller coaster for Decay on debut, but man, picking up a 3K just getting the reset.
I would love
on
to
the
see
dash.
a replay, first-person perspective on that one. Just
You know,
dashing
I
through
think
everybody.
he pressed shift quite a few times in a row.
It was 3, in fact.
Okay, he probably pressed it a 4th time. I'm going to put it out there. I'm taking a big gamble.
You know, you might be correct.
But it was so important because it bought them the time to get the Dragon Blade. Damon predictably almost already has the EMP. They really needed that and stopped there being a snowball ult fest from X6 on their first push onto point B.
Well, here we go. They're already piling in yet again. The wraparound coming from behind. Decay drawing out the Dragon Blade. Finds Bebe off the bat and has a sound barrier keeping himself alive. They'll just swing their way through. Finds no spite. X6 yet again trying to push in. They get rid of some of these ultimates for KongDoo Uncia. Don't invest too many of their own, but
delay.
still.
Look at this split spawn. Disgusting
Gilly.
stuff onto Gilly. Reminds me of Lunatic High's hijinks against
Just
Runaway.
gonna hack him so he can't do anything, and there we go. He goes down.
The saddest Lucio. He looks tilted. I'd be tilted.
I'd be pretty tilted as well. See, that's the good thing is that solo queue is not cohesive enough in order for that to happen, so at least you don't hit that level of tilt in solo queue.
But do timestamp around 6:30 when we saw the triple kill from the dashes from Decay, because that solo left enough breathing room for KongDoo Uncia to make this adjustments in heroes to get the defense set up. Now they have 3 ultimates. Decay are almost 50% back to his Dragon Blade. So great stuff from Decay is what has allowed them to actually be comfortable in the spotters. Here we go. There's the
Force
engage.
coming through. Damon goes down. Not going to be able to use that EMP. That could be crucial here for the success of X6. They go forward, have that sound barrier tossed out. Tanker gets taken out by that self-destruct, but he fires back. Gets 2 of his own, and they get rid of Hyobin in the end. KongDoo Uncia turning this one completely on its head. X6 trying to retreat as best as they can, but they're just going to get taken out one after the other. Yet again, time and time again, KongDoo Uncia just stomped them out.
And the coolest thing is we're seeing trademark KongDoo Uncia things with a new roster. Not often when you change 3 variables you get the sort of coordination we're seeing from KongDoo Uncia, but they're never over-investing in ultimates. They're being pretty judicious in how they use them. They will have the Dragon Blade back up, but Damon and Butcher weren't forced to use their ultimates in that salvo. Now X6, still 3.5 minutes, but after a first point capture on first attempt, they've been really stagnated.
They really have. And even getting the pick on the Damon, not able to use the EMP, just means that he has it for yet another push here. As they start pushing in Decay with the Dragon Blade, already gets rid of Godspeed. Damon just poking out from the back, hasn't had to use that ultimate yet. And looks like he's going to be able to hold on to it for even longer for another push that will inevitably come through here for X6 Gaming. They still have 3 minutes on the clock, but every time they go forward, they just get taken down.
That time they did actually use the Dragon Blade when the EMP was up. I usually like leading with EMP and then judging how much you need because the recharge time is so quick. So they used the longer cooldown ultimate. So I guess you could call it a micro win for X6, but if you're hyped about that, you know you haven't got much going on attack.
Yeah, hasn't been good for them. They just keep going for the same avenue of approaches, wrapping around the left-hand side through the tomb, and it's just has not been working out so far.
They want to pick with the Roadhog to justify the Roadhog being taken. Doesn't have ult available. No picks so far.
Sound barrier thrown down here by Uncia. Damon jumping in, drops the EMP down, and Bebe going to be one of the first ones that falls here. They get rid of Time Boy, so that frontline DPS taken out an X6 yet again. Stomped down Gilly by himself. They won't delay him this time. They just go ahead, finish off the Lucio, but every single time, X6, they keep going to the same spot. This Roadhog is not coming up with the picks, and they just get taken out now, just under 2 minutes on the clock for them. It's been a fantastic delay thus far from KongDoo Uncia.
And it feels like when X6 gets it right, like they did with the opening with the Widowmaker, they really look great, as they did on 2 points of control as well. When it's not getting it jiving and they're not really making fast swaps, they get stagnated a lot. If we're using today as evidence. This time, though, it's 6 ultimates, 1 point. Seems to be the storyline for X6 Gaming. I've got all 6, so it's time to press Q.
Piling in, the Transcendence comes out. They get rid of Damon right off the bat, but he didn't have any EMP to offer up anyway. Godspeed trying to fire away with Attack Visor. Comes up with 2 kills since he gets rid of Bubbly as well. But the Pulse Bomb coming down. Gets out. Tanker out of the suit. They finish him off. And finally, this might be the opening here for X6, as 4 members have gone down on the side of KongDoo Uncia. The respawn's getting ready to come through. They haven't gotten the first tick yet, so still a decent opportunity for a return for KongDoo Uncia. If nothing else, they need to just try to work that clock down to 0. But they keep just getting picked off one after the other. Damon tossing in that translocator. Doesn't quite make it into the point. Just dashes his way and smacked in actually by the enemy. Winston drops the EMP. Find 1 kill as Hyobin goes down. Dance finds out, but gets taken out by Gilly in the end. And X6 holding firm on the point, at least for now. Trying to get towards that second checkpoint. Pulse Bomb coming down from Time Boy, not going to find anything.
Still 40 seconds until the respawns get longer, so while it's got inching towards X6, that's some answering kills. 3, in fact, for KongDoo Uncia, which means that it's only that single checkpoint. If that was a push 40 seconds later, then of course you would have had the advantage, but you want to claim it as early as possible. Kind of trapped between two mistresses, and in the end, it means that X6 actually need to come back and claim the point and hold it for now. They don't really have the resources to do so.
Yeah, and look at Dancy playing really far forward with the Tracer. Has that Pulse Bomb ready to go. If he can drop in, take out 1-2 members, that could put the final nail in the coffin here for X6 Gaming. Wrapping around from the bottom, gets the Pulse Bomb down onto the enemy Roadhog. He'll heal up. Does not find the pick yet, but they work him low, and with multiple members there, they are able to get him out. Decay coming up with 2 kills yet again, dashing his way to victory. The self-destruct finds Bebe, and Decay with that Dragon Blade out, gets rid of Godspeed, gets rid of Gilly. No Smite, the only one trying to get his way back onto the point, won't be able to do so, nowhere nearby. So that hold on point 2 is completed by KongDoo Uncia, despite that massive time bank that X6 went forward with.
Yeah, heroic hold to hold it for that long. The big triple kill without ultimate by Decay on that first push, where the snowball push with 3 ultimates for X6 Gaming was looking like it would get them some control percentage. It was frustrated, it was stagnated, and from there, it felt like they weren't really iterating. They came back with the Roadhog looking for a hook around the left side, attacked multiple times, really didn't find much value from the Roadhog whatsoever. So you start to wonder about the potential flexibility for X6 because, again, when it worked on attack with the Widowmaker, that part was clean, but after that, you kind of shaked your head as attack after attack got almost no value for X6 Gaming.
Yeah, seems like the flexibility here going to be the biggest thing that X6 has to rapidly improve upon as they move forward into Season 3, because again, during this first round, any loss is so crucial against you getting out of the group stage.
And you have to smile about a player like Dance, flexing onto the Ana, onto the Tracer that we were seeing at the end of that game, and more traditionally, the Ana. There's so much flexibility now as that second support. It's Lucio and situational. Sometimes Ana, sometimes Zenyatta. We've already seen Soldier come out from support players, and now the Tracer. So having mechanically skilled support players is so damn important ever since we remember Luna pioneering the Sombra for second support.
Oh, look at this, though. The Widowmaker Mercy combo.
It's not with the Zenyatta. So what we saw, specifically from Pine, was Zenyatta Discord Orb into Mercy damage boost, means that a body shot on any of these triple DPSs is a one-shot kill. Does 202.8 damage, if my mathematics is correct, and is enough to take out anyone. So back to those old bad days where Widowmakers charge shots did more. Of course, requires 3 members to be involved.
I call those the glory days, Papa Smith.
Well, you're a dirty Widow main, Achilles.
That I am, and a proud one at that, but for now, Poison Trap. It's going to be getting the only source of damage here for Godspeed thus far. Hasn't really landed in any of these shots. No headshots coming through at least. See the wraparound here from KongDoo Uncia. Nice little grapple to the side to get a better angle. Will help open up. Still not landing, not getting these pickoffs that you desperately need as the Widowmaker. Still trying, the bubble comes down right on top of him as Winston jumps in. Panther trying to burn him out. Follows him up onto the high ground. Might have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew, but actually Butcher follows through as well with that Diva. Godspeed picks up the health pack, but Baby goes down, so he won't have that boost at least for a little bit longer. Well, Decay in on the point, going low, dashes through, keeps himself alive, and there we go. The shot from Godspeed finally finds a hit. Sleep Dart connects onto him, stopping that hail of sniper shots coming down. But really just buying a little bit of time here for KongDoo Uncia, who are just getting picked off one by one.
Yeah, Baby dying first looked like it would be pretty considerable given that he only had 50% on res, but will now finally be able to group with the team and build up that res largely unimpugned because the attack frittered out for KongDoo Uncia. If you consider it an eco push, they haven't really farmed enough onto Decay just yet.
Got to be looking for it. Throw up that in for sight. Spot them wrapping around from the sidelines. Pulse Bomb comes out, finds Decay. Nice pick off there from Time Boy.
The perfect one, Achilles, because now he still is frustrated at building up the Dragon Blade.
Yeah,
so
70%.
Nano boost available. Dragon Blade is probably about 30 seconds away. So while X6 and their attack on point B was a source of frustration, they did take point A on first push, and now suddenly...
Oh, that's going to be the Nano boost going forward as he leaps in, looking for Baby, trying to finish him off. We'll have the chase around the side. But buying a lot of time. The Nano boost not going to get much. And the That health pack comes through, so Bebe just buying even more time for himself.
3 picks already,
Meanwhile,
both supports
X6,
down.
Yeah, the rest of them have been getting taken out. Dance the only one that's fallen thus far. Down barrier buys KongDoo a little bit more time, keeps Damon alive at least for the moment. Decay, he's got to retreat, still doesn't have the Dragon Blade, going low. A little bit of HP left, self-destruct tossed out from the side of X6. Hyobin not going to find much. Does pop Butcher out of the mech, and they do finish him off, so nice little pick off there in the end. But you can see KongDoo and Uncia really struggling to get onto this point. A minute and a half left. They still have not gotten a single tick for themselves.
It's a good start, but got frustrated at the end, like you mentioned, and now finally, probably only one serious attack left for KongDoo. Uncia won't have access to a Nano Blade. Dragon Blade only now. Built up by Decay.
I mean, if you got the immediate pick off onto Bebe, that would have been so crucial, but he bought so much time, ran out the Nano Boost, got a lot of headshots in as well, and now he's sitting on a res. So even if you wipe out X6, if Bebe's not one of the first ones that goes down, he can just bring everybody back, and suddenly it's full hold potential for X6 Gaming.
And X6 will allow the latitude of changing their lineup. Started with the Widowmaker like we knew, and now we're able to turn over and adjust because of the failed first push. All action on Decay, here he is.
Yeah, that's going to be the Dragon Blade coming out, answered from the sound barrier, but he has to make a pit stop to pick up that health pack. Now dropping in from below, doesn't have anything yet, but Timeboy and Godsby have gone down. The res is out from Bebe, trying to bring them back in, but he gets sniped out of there by Panker, smacking him out of the sky. As Butcher pushes forward, just trying to buy some time, trying to get this control meter rolling up here from the side of KongDoo Uncia. Respawns coming through, they do have the fast track in onto the point, as they finally finish off these members of X6, but a very late cap for the side of KongDoo Uncia. 20 seconds left on the take here. It's going to be 4 minutes, 20 seconds for them to try to get that second cap.
And definitely no snowball potential with no ultimates available. Big problem there for X6 was that the res came through after both DPS went down, but wasn't in range of Godsby. Only one DPS was res. Godsby went down, so got minimal value out of an ultimate that they've been sitting on for quite a long time. 3 minutes 50 to do better than X6 Gaming. They need 50% of this particular map.
Oh, really nice pick off there, but the Zarya shield coming through as Godsby has swapped over onto that pick. Keeps Gilly alive, but Godsby himself goes down. Panker taking him out, and he's going to pop the mech of Hyobin at the same time. Timeboy poking in, has that pulse bomb ready to go, tosses it out, won't find the kill in onto Decay as he chugs up, keeps himself alive at least for the moment. But Bebe answering with 2, gets rid of Decay and Damon. He'll get pooped down by Butcher as Timeboy keeps trying to poke around from the sides, trying to just build up for another pulse bomb as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah, 3 for 2, but again, the respawns are going to be the big equalizer here for X6.
Yeah, Panker going down, holding onto the Earth Shatter, crucially, the only ultimate that KongDoo Uncia have to the name at the moment. Butcher goes to that self-destruct. Otherwise, X6 will have a nice little stave off on that first push.
Reminder that we are on the April 27th patch.
Yeah, they have to go 49.7%.
So if there was no capture of the first checkpoint, then it would have been 33% required, but as you mentioned, 49.7% is the goal for KongDoo Uncia. Didn't have any ults really to invest in the first, and Damon's made an interesting adjustment, so we've been focusing on his play quite a bit this game. Onto McCree for the first time. All DPS players that joined KongDoo Uncia said they were big McCree players.
Oh.
EMP.
Yeah, big EMP dropped out here by Bebe, firing off, trying to build up for yet another one.
Damon first down.
And yeah, Damon does go down. They find Bubbly as well. Decay, Dance, the name's just billing in onto the kill feed as effectively the wipe comes through here for the side of X6. Nice hold off. It's just 2 minutes, 20 seconds, but a bit of an eco push, you'd have to say, for KongDoo.
And worth noting that when the kill feed goes so quickly, it's actually good for KongDoo Uncia, because when they lose one member, they can't jump off the edge on this map. They'd rather die grouped so they don't have anyone split spawn. We've seen a lot of great split spawning from KongDoo Uncia, but not from X6.
Timeboy tossing out that pulse bomb. Didn't quite see, might have gotten eaten by Butcher as I didn't hear it go off. If so, would have been a very nice little flick turnaround there on the right click. In coming through, finds the Winston in the primal rage. They'll land the sleep dart as well, and they just finish him off. Damon killing him. Earth Shatter still available here for Panker as they try to get an advantage. That's going to be a big one. Godsby and Bebe both going down, charging onto the point here for Panker as he has that nano boost ready to go. Gilly finishes off Damon. Self-destruct tossed out by Hyobin, but he's not going to find anything forward. Goes back into the back, trying to stay alive, trying to buy some time here for his team to get those respawns. But honestly, they might not even need it because KongDoo are still just getting picked off. Dance and Panker go down. Haven't gained much of anything on the point. They invested Earth Shatter. Now only have a self-destruct and only have realistically 1 or 2 more pushes.
Yeah, that room was the killing fields, was in the first round when X6 was attacking, was again here for KongDoo Uncia. Panker beasted it, but there was nothing really to play off his great Reinhardt play, of course. one of his standbys, one of the best Reinhardts we have in Apex. But now we're down to a minute. Remember, they need to get 50%. Oh, they will lose this map. EMP already.
Yeah, yet again, Bebe jumping forward with the translocation. They find Bubbly, they get Dance. Banker able to answer one back as he gets rid of Godby, but Bebe is just kiting back, finishes off the Roadhog.
If they split spawn here, they may need no attack at all. 45 seconds left.
Yeah, just keeps hacking out all of these health packs here, and 40 seconds on the clock. KongDoo Uncia, they need this push to count, need to get all the way in there, cap effectively 50% on that meter, or else X6 will be going up the match point.
Watch Decay, he's on the Roadhog. We didn't see much value out of Roadhog from X6. But need to make a big play, whether it's with the whole hog or a pick.
Boy is yet again looking for that flank. They move forward, they get in onto the point, Hook comes through. Hyobin loses the mechs up the strong
Double kill!
Out. Butcher takes out Bebe, takes out Hyobin. Is that the opening that they desperately need? Already 2 members of KongDoo Uncia have gone down. They answer with 2 on the side of X6, but the respawns are going to start coming through in their favor. And a boost down onto Butcher, trying to buy as much time as he possibly can, but he's all on his lonesome. He'll get booped out of the mech, taken out, and that should be it. X6 able to hold off Uncia on point B, come up with the win on Temple of Anubis.
End of the day, it seemed like their fast capture of point A was what really separated the two teams. Neither looked likely to claim point B of Anubis. We've heard about that on Volskaya, we've heard about that on Hanamura. Anubis is often the more capable when it comes to actually picking up these point Bs, but they got such little percentage. They never really had a numbers advantage on point B. Did KongDoo Uncia, and now kind of against the flow of the game, X6 has gotten one back.
I mean, honestly, even if we weren't on this current patch, if we were on the last one with any percentage rules, X6 would have been pretty convincing in taking that out, because there was barely any ground gained by KongDoo Uncia on any of their attacks. So fantastically held there by X6. Now at match point, just need one more win as we move over onto our escort maps to finish off this set and get a first win in their first match here at Apex Season 3.
And with that music, means it's time for a tactical pause. No substitutions available on the side of X6. They will call their tactical pause. As we're going to be focusing on the other side, and for now, it's KongDoo Uncia, who could not tactical pause, as you're only allowed one of tactical pause and substitution.
3 minutes on the clock, though, for both of these teams to take their time, figure out how they're going to approach this escort map. It is looking very one-sided for KongDoo Uncia on Numbani.
I mean, it just feels like every map has kind of been a new tome of knowledge for us. The thing we learned about X6 was they were able to adjust on defense and actually do some interesting things, moving away from the Widowmaker they didn't get much value from. That more static defense with the Soldier and looking pretty clean on that defense on Anubis. And then both teams stymied out of a realistic attack onto point B of that map. And to see what the selection is here from the side of KongDoo Uncia. We are moving on to the escort map. Dorado, Route 66, and Gibraltar available.
So decent amount to choose from. Dorado, seen it a couple times, hasn't been the most popular.
Even saw some Gibraltar on Tuesday, so...
Yeah, we did.
Despite that being largely the least popular of the three. Saw its head reared. Dorado the most popular, definitely.
Seen that one quite a bit throughout the promotion tournament as well as the start of the season, but it hasn't been, we haven't really seen too many of those full pushes all the way to point C. It's been a lot of, holdings at either A or B for these teams. But it's been a bit scrappier of a series here between KongDoo Uncia and X6 Gaming. So very well could be one of those sets where we don't see that final point cap by either side.
Yeah, historical numbers don't really count much against KongDoo Uncia given all their changes. If you're looking at purely their lowest win rate historically on escort maps, it would actually be on the side of Dorado. Surprisingly, they are 0-2. They're 1-1 on both Gibraltar and on Route 66, but again, they've changed so much that numbers like that don't matter. I think if you're on this side, you're focusing more on choosing what you're best at, so we'll see what they want to decide here. KongDoo Uncia, how much of the new numbers really change their approach when it comes to their selection here. I'm looking up both booths, bit of a stabler here. Motion's running high, obviously, when you're looking at a potential defeat on your debut here as a new roster in many ways.
It's been an interesting showing here for both of these teams. I mean, we got our first look of Poise. He was very quickly snatched away. But now, even with Butcher failing to pick up that win there on Temple of Anubis. So backs against the wall for KongDoo Uncia as the tactical pause runs out. The coaches exit the booths, and we get ready to jump into our fourth map here of the night, potentially our final one. X6 can pick up the victory here. That'd be a very nice win for them in their first match.
It's been pretty insane seesaw, you'd have to say, this series. It's been the best and worst of both of these young lineups so far. Just waiting to see where we go on Escort. Decision is for the side of KongDoo Uncia after losing on Temple of Anubis.
Here we go, we'll find out what this battleground's going to be. Route 66, Dorado, and Gibraltar are the choices, and it will be Gibraltar. Interesting. So a map that usually doesn't have too much priority showed to it will get picked up here from the side of KongDoo Uncia.
One of the most famous moments, I think, in Apex history was, of course, the sneak claim by Arhan on Gibraltar. So we'll see if there's any such shenanigans today. First time for me actually casting Gibraltar. Again, it hasn't been one of the popular ones, especially in the promotion tournament. Something different here is selected by KongDoo Uncia. 1-on-1 historically, but again, the numbers of the past mean so little with so many new faces onto the battlegrounds.
Yep. We'll see how far we make it through here on Gibraltar. Getting all the way to that final point is going to be a bit of a difficult task for both of these teams, especially with how back and forth the fights have been. Let's go ahead, see who's going to close this one out. X6, match point for them. KongDoo Uncia, can they take us to game 5?
Get it?
Fans hanging in there. Going on 2 hours here for this first set as we approach 9 p.m. But the energy has not died down.
We've had the substitution, the tactical pause, and the commercial breaks. We've had the random sampler of disruptions in Overwatch. Not many left. Close up this particular series as looking at X6's defense. We see a defensive dive comp that you definitely see from time to time. You need to drop down from high ground quite a lot, especially on the first point of Gibraltar. Godsby is the ultimate troll. 4th time's the charm seems to be the way, as will be the McCree.
He wants to stick to this. For now, it's just having a sit down, just hanging out.
Now his 5th choice is the soldier, master of the high ground, so looks like he finally will invest in a decision. So looking for X6, they definitely do have a defensive dive comp. Still waiting to get our information for the side of KongDoo Uncia. So much high ground to contest, as you're pointing, as Bin's gone very aggressively on the open. He's not on Diva for once.
Yeah, I mean, going on the Genji is also just interesting to see here from Yobin as he tries to poke around from the back. Already onto the payload, though, as KongDoo Uncia as they start working their way forward. Winston having to leap out of their nose might not looking to lose his life this early on into the fight. So keeps himself safe, goes back up to the high ground. Now the push will overall just continue here from the side of KongDoo. Nice little damage coming through here from DK as he flanks onto that high ground.
Another evaluation of X6 on triple DPS. This time Bebe stays on support, but as we mentioned, Choyobin's the one who flexes onto a 3rd DPS in the Genji. I mean, the Godsby, their usual Genji player, isn't on Genji. Well, you can't argue with the results.
Yeah.
Helix Rocket double for Godsby.
Big pickoffs, and he gets Panker at the end as well, so really good high ground performance there from Godsby. So feels pretty good about that pick. Glad he didn't go for the McCree.
And they've finally found the right 3, you'd have to say, for triple DPS already. Immensely better than Bebe on the Soldier when they were attacking on Numbani.
Yeah, just keep him onto the support, keep him on the Ana, keep him on the
Means no Lucio
Zenyatta.
that you don't see very often, as Gilly's on the Zenyatta here.
I mean, this is basically, the full dive comp setup that you usually have with supports, the classic one when that first started coming out. Gilly, though, gets picked off. Good start here for KongDoo as they try to push in, but Gilman actually comes up with a double kill, draws out the Dragon Blade, gets rid of both supports on the side of Uncia, then takes out Panker, pops the suit on Damon, who gets finished off by that tack visor. You can see the smiles coming through right there. Gilman's like, huh, maybe I shouldn't be a diva main after all.
And I think Rogue was the team that really let us know that this is the sort of defense that's possible on Gibraltar, the aggressive triple DPS diving defense. No one is giving up. Free meterage, and for now, KongDoo Uncia have been completely stagnated.
Yeah, Gilman though will get taken out. Damon with the help of Bubbly. Finish off that pesky Genji, but now that's going to be Nosmite poking forward with the Primal Rage, just trying to knock him off, trying to buy as much time before that payload can even round the first corner. Leaps his way out, looks like he gets out successfully, but they will start playing back. They'll let the payload move up now into the underpass.
See a bit of a roster adjustment as well, because they're no longer fighting in the faces of the respawns. Triple DPS, a little bit less value, since you've been back on that trademark diva.
Yeah. Gotta say though, it's gotta be a bit of a revelation of a performance here thus far from X6. And seeing this flexibility that they can have with Gods
Decay is no doubt frustrated, this young player, seeing that now Choyabin has moved away. No more is the Genji duel that he would have been licking his lips when he saw Choyabin move onto that Genji. Now they have to respect the diva and all the stalls possible. And they've already used so much of the time back, only a minute 15 left on trying to take point A.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we see quite a bit of, just these very aggressive forward holds. Oh, Butcher leaps in, gets slapped mid-air. The Discord Orb comes down, they finish him off. That is going to put a halt to anything KongDoo and Uncia we're trying to get done. The sound barrier comes down as well, so losing out on that ultimate as they just get shoved back towards the spawn yet again out of the underpass.
It's a really poor sound barrier if you think about it.
Oh, it was
They already
terrible.
had lost multiple members, so just using it there is a wasted cooldown from Bubbly. Might have got a bit hasty. One of the veterans of this lineup needs to be much smarter about using the sound barrier. They could have had 6 ultimates, but now we'll only have 5. That's the only Lucio ultimate in the game.
The Sailors had a little bit too much rum.
That seems like it.
Mana boost ready to go. Some members going low on the side of KongDoo and just to get shoved back yet again, trying to find an entry, but Panker already gets knocked out of the back. Dance going low, and now Decay drawing up that Dragon Blade, trying to find some kills, but only gets Gilly so far. X6 still holding on pretty firmly, and they just explode forth with kills onto KongDoo Uncia. Damon, Decay, and Bubbly all going down. And this looks like it's just going to be a full hold. The self-destruct comes out, overtime ticking down. There's no one there. Wow, X6. A beautiful defense, now poised to go ahead and take this set on Gibraltar. Have to barely push the payload anywhere.
And definitely have to compliment X6. Really good, aggressive hold with the triple DPS open. Very smartly have found the members they want on the DPS. Bebe certainly didn't look comfortable in that role. But Choyabin opening on the Genji did just fine, even against pretty good competition in Decay. But also we need to mention the KongDoo Uncia. And specifically Bubbly using the sound barrier for no gain whatsoever with a kill feed that showed that multiple members had gone down. Was just a brain fade. There's nothing else to say about it. I mean, it meant that they couldn't push with 6 ultimates, which, you know, that's the best they could hope for given how bad the start had been. And now it's the most achievable of pushes for X6 Gaming to just win the set.
I mean, as soon as Butcher makes the call like, I'm dead, you know, they slept dart me, I'm surrounded. That should just
but
be
someone
the
else died after that.
Sure, but I'm just saying, that alone, that should be the halt. You're not going to get the sound barrier down onto the Winston. He gets taken out. You don't want to push in a 5v6 without your tank. They pop the sound barrier and everything goes awry from there.
But remember, it is still first set with 3 new members. You know,
Sure.
they have put in Butcher after game 2. They did start with Poise if you're joining us late, and then make a roster swap after 1. KongDoo Uncia is throwing a lot of things on the wall and trying to work out in many different ways what their best approaches are. So to me, the thing to criticize is Bubbly using his ult at the wrong spot because he's one of these veterans of the lineup. But KongDoo Uncia, they have shown good signs at parts of this set. They won't play for a couple of weeks. Maybe they can iron out the kinks that are definitely apparent as well. It's in the best and worst of KongDoo Uncia. X6 Gaming, them actually showing they can play triple DPS defense and dropping down and playing so smartly is a new side to the coin for X6.
Yeah. Right now, though, Uncia looks like it can come out with one monstrous defense. right here, right now. Basically 54
Triple
meters.
tank, actually,
all
from
but
Uncia. It's
X16.
old Uncia. Season 2 Uncia's back.
All right, well, they're going back to this. This is the Uncia that made it out of group stage.
Which does mean that they're going to give up free meterage already. So one lost fight, and the game is already over.
Yeah, effectively. They need to play this to a T. Godspeed starting things off with the Widowmaker. Knows that if you just get one pick, and that'll be it.
They've got no pressure onto a Widowmaker. There's no way for them to push out. They need to stay as formation.
Yeah, Decay would have to be the one flanking in the backside with Damon, trying to take him out. In the meantime, Timeboy just pushing forward, trying to build up as best as possible, chipping away at these tanks. They work Butcher rather low. Dan's going to be the first one to go down. Jobin finishes them off, but they do answer back. They get no spite. They get the Diva out of the suit. Pickups here
Nice.
for KongDoo, but there we go. Headshot coming through. Decay goes down. Godspeed picking up that one. Looking for the Lucio. The shield comes up just in time to keep him safe, but actually Timeboy flanking from behind gets rid of Bubbly. Now looking for a bit more as he gets in onto the Zarya. Has the recall, takes him out of that corner. That was looking pretty deadly for himself, and Bebe finishes off the Butcher. They get the pop hit on the Damon. Pulse Bomb comes down. They get rid of Panker. This could be the opening now for X6. They're right there. 0.62 meters left to go. All out defense for KongDoo. Uncia just desperately trying to hold on as Bubbly dashes forward, but that's going to be it. X6 Gaming with a beautiful defense the first half of the round. They finish the push. They pick up their first victory here in Apex Season 3.
And KongDoo Uncia seemed to miss the memo on the triple DPS right at the last, went back to triple tank, thus had no answer for a Widowmaker. We say shooting gallery a lot, but that was literally a shooting gallery, is because, sure, two of those people could dive in, but when you have that setup with no real long-range damage, you're kind of stuck between two masters. They ended up not really controlling space, not being able to shut down the Widowmaker, and it was just a matter of time, and not much time in that.
I mean, they're also entirely condensed into a hallway effectively, so the Widowmaker doesn't have to look around too much to find a target.
When you've got nothing to defend, you need to go aggressive, otherwise you just end up losing. So definitely some head scratches from KongDoo at the end. After some things to like from them, and X6 largely do stick the landing in their Apex debut. We talked about them being true Royal Roaders. They could go and win their first tournament at the professional level. Still a lot to work on from here. Some good signs though, and I really liked their defense on Gibraltar. Top stuff from them, and that was the best part of the set for me from X6 Game.
Yeah. And now now we have to put KongDoo Uncia under the microscope. Weren't sure what to expect from these guys. They move Birdring over onto Panthera, their sister team. Lucid goes over to Afrika Freaks Blue. They bring in 3 new members. This was the sister team that made it out of the group stage every single time. Now it seems like there's a lot more work that needs to be done for that to be achieved again.
Yeah, both KongDoo teams go down. At the end of the day, Panthera great showing, but ended up getting reverse swept. And now Uncia go down a lot more cleanly. You could understand stacking Panthera, that was our first impression. Came close to vindicating that. Trying new things on Uncia, some good, but mostly bad. I guess not that surprising, given all the rookies on the lineup.
And that's an interesting decision that you'd have to make as an organization. Do you want to just stack one roster and have that be your best chance of making it through into the semifinals, the final? Or do you want to have 2 teams that are both good, but maybe not good enough to make it past the quarterfinal round?
We don't know the ceiling of Panthera. On a different day, that would have been a 3-0 over Lunatic High.
Exactly.
Really lost their bearings on Volskaya. So genius and madness, that fine line between the two. For now, it looks like madness, but it'll be a couple of weeks before we have the full information there. We'll look at the play of the game, and it's on the Diva main, who finally got a new lease on life. He finally got to select something that was not the Diva.
Yeah, Jobin just getting the dash through. Takes out Bubbly right off the bat. And I mean, the Helix Rockets really helping out Godspeed, coming up with a double kill, but they just worked their way right through KongDoo. And so you can
the
see
man we call a one-trick
is
is no longer a one-trick. He's got a pocket pick as well.
All right, well, he accomplished it faster than Hoxall did.
It's true.
Moving away from that one-trick pony.
I don't know if he's a
stance.
Hoxall just yet, though.
Yeah, no, definitely not a Hoxall on the Genji. But still, moves away from the one-trick pony status rather quickly there is Jobin. So nicely done by him. Nicely done by X6 on the whole.
That is our first series in the books. That means, global fans, it's almost time for Rogue.
I know a lot of you guys have been saying Rogue waiting room in the chat. I'm sure it's been in there.
Time to slap those resident sleepers and bring them back to life, because Rogue will make